August the 5th, 2025. Guys, I want to talk about a couple of things that went down today, and I think it's all of these events are tied together, and they're all leading to one outcome, and that's a very deep wound into the deep state. Now, you guys be patient because we've heard all of this before, but never to this level and never with the people in the position that they are now to carry it out. First thing is that something we talked about in one of the live streams. It's saying the breaking FBI Director Kash Patel tapped to help Texas track down and arrest fugitive Democrat lawmakers who fled the state to block redistricting votes. They are in 3 or 4 states now, kind of hiding out and all. But guys, the one thing that concerns me, and we've seen it twice, yesterday and today, was the Texas House convened 3 p.m. to simply announce that they were going to adjourn because the quorum rules were not met. Okay, now, and I read earlier, actually just a few minutes ago, that they're going to continue to do that 3 p.m. thing until Friday. Now, somewhere there's loose screws there, and in all the slow voting that we see in D.C., somebody needs to get in there with a wrench or 2 wrenches and start doing some tightening up. Why let them get away with all this crap? Anyway, this is just one of the things that says FBI Director Kash Patel has been formally asked to assist Texas authorities in tracking down and arresting rogue Democrat lawmakers. These are the ones that fled the state to sabotage a critical redistricting vote. Now, they're practically calling for a coup. That's the Democrats. You saw that in the last live stream, and they're saying they no holds barred. But guys, what does that mean? They have done nothing but cheat and lie since their existence. And there's one of my huskies, Smokey, said, yes, that's exactly what they do. Pop, they lie and cheat. You think so? You do? I agree 100%. He said he's tired of it. Tell him, Smokey. Tell him. Yeah. Anyway, I've got about 5 of them in here, and they want the ice out of my tea. Once it gets soft, there's something about it. They want that ice, and I have to, and they're spoiled when I get a glass of tea. Do you want some more? Guys, excuse me for this temporary break, but they are, Smokey, they are my kids, and they mean as much to anything, as much to me as anything on the planet, along with my kids and grandkids. Anyway, Texas Governor Abbott and the Republican-led legislature issued arrest warrants to the rogue Democrats after they abandoned their post and fled across state lines, some to New York, some to Illinois, to deny the House quorum during a constitutionally mandated special session. Now, since this came out at noon today, there's another state now that has them, their Democratic senators from Texas there and doing the same type of live stunt. And guys, every one of you that watched it with me, it was lies on lies on lies and hypocrisy stacked as high as the Empire State Building. And do they think, guys, are they so demented and naive that they think that we believe a single word that they're saying? They got voted out unanimously. Now they're saying that the redistricting is to cheat the vote. We already have the vote. They will never get back in the next 2 or 3 elections. They would have to kill everyone here except the Democrats and still have to rig the dang election. That's how bad they are. It says this lawless stunt was quickly blasted as an anti-democratic sabotage of the process. Now, with time running out in the special session again till Friday, federal law enforcement may be joining the effort to bring those fugitives to justice. Now, Joe Carroll, you watch our videos and you're one of the top moderators, and you said this 2 or 3 days ago. And I asked the question, would the feds be brought in? And you said definitely. So A+ on that, because you were exactly right. And I mentioned earlier, there was a lot going on today. It's going to be like that the rest of the week. I won't go into detail on all of these events, but We're finding out now, reports have come out that said the Biden regime pressured J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, to debank President Trump after January the 6th. They did it to a lot more people than Trump. But again, how did they pressure J.P. Morgan and Bank of America? What did they threaten them with? But what we're looking at is more evidence to be piled on top of the stacks of evidence that we have to take down the deep state. Now, earlier today, President Trump told CNBC Squawk Box that the Bank of America and J.P. Morgan rejected him as a customer after he tried to deposit $1 billion plus. He's very wealthy. That's how libtarded and stupid they are. They will destroy their own bank to follow the Obamalites, like the Kenites. Anyway, Bank of America CEO said, we can't do it. Trump said, so I went to another one, and another one. I ended up going to small banks all over the place. I mean, I was putting 10 million here, 10 million there. How crooked of a regime is in place. These bankers, we knew they were corrupt. Bank of America is terrible, guys. They're terrible. J.P. Morgan the same. So my point in coming over to this short article is, again, the deep state is spread very far through the banking, through many other industries. And so as this information is piling on, this will be the chance of a lifetime to destroy much of the deep state. We have to keep the pressure up, and a lot of people say, BP, I'm sick of political videos. Well, so be it, don't watch, because this is so important right now to what's going on with my life and your life, the ones that are complaining and whining and all of that. If you don't understand how important this is, you've really been hiding under a rock for a long time. And I know a lot of the bots are there just to debunk the truth. But you get caught. It doesn't take long. And again, this video, I think I'll title it Full Assault on the Deep State. But now Trump said today at 4:40 p.m. that he is threatening to federalize the D.C. Over the out-of-control crime. Remember, people are getting beat up, killed, continuously let out of jail immediately. One of the Doge team members severely beaten by a gang while defending a woman. And he got beat up pretty bad. But Trump is saying this afternoon he's going to take over D.C. if they don't get it together. We've heard it before. But he needs to do it now. He needs to step in, get rid of all the mayors, all of the judges in that area. Move out, take it over. It would be really nice to see D.C. made a state instead of an enterprise by the British government and banks and Rome. He said crime in Washington is totally out of control. Local youths and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens, at the same time knowing they will almost be immediately released. They're not afraid of law enforcement, he says, because they know nothing happens, but it's going to happen now. So again, death by a million blades to the deep state. Now guys, this is a big one. This is what I've been saying for a couple of weeks when everybody was crying and whining about their Jeffrey E. files. I said the deep state's got to go down to take it all down. And that's what's happened. We're seeing that they're unleashing the warrants and everything for the Russian collusion, right, with Hillary, Bill, all of the people. But today, Comer unleashed the subpoena storm for the Clintons, Comey, Garland, Mueller ordered to testify in the Epstein probe. In other words, it's like the trumpets in Revelation. Bam, bam, bam. But they had to start at the top. So, guys, it always pays to listen to an old redneck like me that's seen these guys do this since before the beginning of the Vietnam War. Not much has changed until now. And I'm very optimistic that we're going to see things happening. And look at the evil duo right here. Have you guys remember Arkansas or Clinton side? Look at that. And Hillary, remember I can't remember his name. I think he may have died of cancer, but he was one of their advisors, especially when Slick Willie was the governor of Arkansas. But he said one of his jobs, big guy, a big high up level guy, was to cover up that Hillary was flying to L.A. every weekend for their witches meeting. He was very adamant, very clearly said it. It was on YouTube. Some of you may know about that and can link to that video. But that ties into something else about Hollywood, is that Hollywood is named after the holly tree. And that wood was specifically used for witches' wands. Just a side note, a little interesting one, but you're looking at one of the witches right there. And you might want to say a really naive warlock, whatever you want to call these demons. It doesn't matter. What we need to do is project their demise. And one way you do it is to share every video about this that you can on every platform. I will never, ever issue a copyright strike. It's happened to me before, and I thought it was totally unnecessary, but it happens. I won't do it, though. Now, Comer, he's from Kentucky, Republican. I really like him a lot. He's been pretty much straightforward and no nonsense since the beginning. And what's important about this section is that the subpoenas have been issued. People say, well, they're not going to do anything. Well, we're going to see. It says the House Oversight Committee, James Comer, announced today that he issued subpoenas to some of the most powerful political figures of the past 3 decades to testify in an investigation centered on the horrific crimes perpetrated by Jeffrey Epstein. This is described in that press release. Now, there's a couple of very interesting names in here, and the first one is William Barr. But guys, he got busted today again for doing some very, very crooked stuff. Kind of thought he was out of the picture, but he's not. It just come out he was doing some very crooked, underhanded crap. And he is going to be, his subpoena is for August 18th for Attorney General Alberto Gonzales, for August 26th, Jeff Sessions, a big trader as Mike Pence, August 28th, his subpoena. We're talking this month, guys. September 2nd, Mueller, beautiful. Loretta Lynch, the 9th. Eric Holder, the 30th. Remember Fast and Furious? Merrick Garland, October 2nd. James Comey, October 7th. Hillary Clinton, the witch, October 9th. And her favorite flying monkey, Bill Clinton, 5 days later on the 14th. So it's here. We're seeing it. What will happen, I can't say. But I can tell you, if the pressure is kept on these people, by you calling your senators, congressmen, whoever that's involved in these investigations, and let them know you want this to happen, this is what you voted for, then it's a multiple pile-on from the president, the FBI, Comer, and us, the voters, the taxpayers. So this is our only opportunity to make sure this is accomplished. My job at my age is to make sure that everyone gets these videos, and I hope you guys share them. Now, the reason I say at my age, guys, because I've been to D.C. twice, once during the Obama administration, and we were part of what was called American Spring. We were handing out flyers and talking to hundreds and hundreds of people about what happened to our SEAL team. Things like that. What was Obama really doing? And we were there in the face of Obama sitting in the White House. The next time was during Trump. And the Washington, even though Obama was there first and then Trump, after Trump came in, and when they realized that he was going to get elected, Washington went to hell and back. Because you could kind of halfway walk around and see the sights in Washington. You could see And I've got videos when we were at the Lincoln Memorial handing out flyers and at the Washington Monument and things like that. But by the time Trump got in and we were up there, the streets looked like almost like L.A. It was very bad. It had been done that way on purpose, just like the painting in BLM Plaza. It says the House Oversight Committee, through Chairman Comer, subpoenaed the Department of Justice for all records related to Jeffrey Epstein in accordance with a bipartisan vote by the Federal Law Enforcement Subcommittee on July 23rd. The vote included an amendment from Representative Summer Lee, Democrat from Pennsylvania, to expand the scope of the DOJ subpoena. So you got a couple of Democrats in there, guys, and that really is a little extra leverage in the close votes. In a separate motion introduced by Representative Scott Perry from Pennsylvania, Republican, approved by voice video, the subcommittee directed the chairman to compel testimony from Bill and Hillary, along with several former U.S. Attorney Generals and FBI directors, the sour cream of the crop. The move is part of the committee's broader investigation into the federal government's handling of the Epstein case and associated individuals, including Maxwell, Epstein's log-in accomplice, who is currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking of minors. Now, she's been moved to a more comfortable prison, from what I understand, because of her testimony. So again, there's another layer that's going to press down on the deep state. That's why I'm concerned that that lady may have I'm not for her. She needs to do her time. But they have painted a very large target on her back, and she may end up like her cohort. We don't know. But guys, the Dems, just like they said today, there's no holds barred. They're going to do everything and anything they can to stop this administration. Guys, and also just coming out a couple of hours ago, leaked FBI document reveals Jeffrey Epstein was a secret FBI informant. Who do you think now may have 80-60? Why do you think they're being called in on this committee? An exclusive leak obtained by RadarOnline.com reveals that disgraced pedophile Jeffrey Epstein was not only shielded by the U.S. justice system, but was in fact a covert FBI informant, effectively working for intelligence years before his notorious 2007 plea deal. Now, a lot of people said he's involved with Israeli intelligence also. I don't know, and this could be a tic-tac blame game from between Israel and the FBI. I don't know, but in 2018, Gateway Pundit reported that Epstein was not just protected by federal authorities, but may have actually worked as an informant for the FBI under Mueller. Mueller's being called in too. And this is what I was talking about stacking on and adding the weight on this prosecution of the deep state. Remember, Bundy ordered the federal prosecutors to present evidence to the grand jury in the Russian collusion hoax. Update, grand jury is in Florida. Now, think about it. You've got the same group of people from the Clintons on down and on up involved in two different subpoena cases, one against the Russian hoax, the other against the Epstein files. It's saying U.S. Attorney Pam Bundy, Attorney General, has ordered an unnamed federal prosecutor to present evidence to grand jury in the Russian collusion hoax. We mentioned that last night, and they have an update. Now, a lot of people are saying that Obama is he can't be prosecuted. And in some of this, Hillary's at the top, but in this one, Obama is. It says, now Tulsi Gabbard is saying, these documents detail the treasonous conspiracy by officials at the highest levels of the Obama White House to subvert the will of the American people. There comes treason, and there is no exemption in that prosecution. And now John Solomon is saying that the grand jury investigation is going to be in Florida. And we know that you've got Trump already has friendly judges there, and we just watched the Republicans put another Florida judge into place a few nights ago before they cowardly left town. They're still pulling their same shenanigans. A couple of them, there weren't really any of the major members showed up this morning to say they're there. They're not going to do anything, and that they'll be back Friday to do the same thing. That way Trump doesn't have his 10-day everyone missing so he can get these people put in. That's pretty sorry of the Republicans. But again, rhinos being rhinos. But we're watching it, guys. It's a heads up. Be safe.